ahead and get started. Welcome to the January 28th, 2021 Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Commission meeting, and we'll start with a roll call.
All right, everyone hear me okay? Perfect. Kathleen Taylor?
Here.
Francine Donchik?
Here.
Kyle West?
Here.
Larry Chesney?
Present.
Mark Johnson?
Here.
Peter Gower?
Here.
Sarah Chavilicek?
Here.
Scott Carey?
Present.
And Shelley Reed.
Here. Thank you. Can we go ahead and provide the call-in information for public comment?
Yeah, of course. Let me share my screen here. Everyone see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right. So this is, for the record, New Meeting Chair Commissioners, Damian Kerwin with Team RPA. Just going to give you a quick run through of how to leave public comment. If you wish to leave comment on an item tonight, you just go to teamrpa.org, the main page here, and you click here to access a digital public comment card. And then simply fill in your name, provide an email, and then the agenda item with which you would like to provide public comment on. And again, this is just a reminder, if you want to comment on another item, you have to go through this whole process and fill it out again. And then just provide this information. And then once you hit submit, it will give you information if you put your phone number in, right? It will then provide you the Zoom webinar link, and if you want to call in, and you can also access it down here. And it will also email you this information as well.
Thank you, Damian,
course.
for providing that. Next, we'll do salute to the flag. Chris, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and everybody else, please mute.
Absolutely. If everybody will join me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Gower, move to approve.
Commissioner Donchik, second.
Second.
I think Commissioner Chesney got that one. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And next, we'll move on to public comment. Do we have anybody on the line for public comment?
There's none for this item.
Okay. Since there's no public comment, we'll close public comment and move on to item 5, which is approval of the minutes of the December 7th, 2020 meeting.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Donchik moves to approve.
Commissioner Chesney, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Donchik and a second by Commissioner Chesney. Any discussion?
This is Commissioner West. I'm going to abstain as I wasn't at that meeting.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? And Commissioner West is abstaining. Motion passes. Let's move on to item 6, which is our business of the day. And we'll start with item 6A, which is the regional plan amendment and conformance review for Ormat geothermal. Director Smith.
Madam Chair, thank you. The first item being considered, as you mentioned, is both a project of regional significance and regional planning amendment. I'd like to read the item into the record as we noticed it on the agenda, and then provide a short opening statement to the Commission regarding this item, and sort of hear the will of the Commission on how we might move forward. So with that, item 6A for possible action. It's a public hearing, regional plan amendment, that's RPA 20-005, and conformance review CR 20-022, Ormat geothermal. The first part considers possible adoption of RPC Resolution 21-01, providing a recommendation to the Regional Planning Governing Board regarding a mapping amendment to the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan to add a new regional utility corridor and 2 new regional utility sites. That's RPA 20-005. The site is located approximately 10 miles north of Pyramid Lake. The second part is the conformance review of a project of regional significance for the request to add 2 new electric substations, a transmission line that carries 60 kilovolts or more, and 2 new facilities that generate electricity greater than 5 megawatts. The sites are located approximately 10 miles northeast of Pyramid Lake and approximately 10 miles east of Pyramid Lake. So, Madam Chair, that is the item as noticed. I have a couple of comments I'd like to start with. Yesterday at around 4 p.m., we received a public comment letter from the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe discussing their concerns regarding this project. We quickly got that letter published online for public access and distributed to the Commission and interested parties to read. Even so, we're unclear if the Commission has had an opportunity to digest this information. The letter and attachments are lengthy, pretty technical in nature. Today, we do have representatives from both our applicant from Washoe County, as well as their applicant, Ormat, as represented by Andy Durling of Wood Rogers. These folks are prepared to answer questions today regarding the project and are to present information that may address the comments received from the Pyramid Lake Tribe. However, given these specific comments have come to our attention only very recently, we understand that you may want more time to read through and understand how they could potentially impact your decision making. Also, we want to provide the opportunity for either the applicant or their applicant, Ormat, to have a chance to substantively address these comments in writing as part of the public record. If desired, we could request the consent of these parties to continue this item to our meeting in February in order to secure those materials and provide you with a more robust analysis and staff report for the meeting at that time. In terms of our understanding of regional planning's authority and jurisdiction in these matters, kind of in relation to the letter received, firstly, I just want to point out that TMRPA staff lack the geotechnical expertise to evaluate subsurface hydrogeology. We depend on other entities like the Nevada Division of Minerals or the BLM through their NEPA process to inform us about these conditions. Those entities have the permitting authority and approval processes in place to evaluate those subsurface aspects. Our role largely is to ensure that local government master plans contain policies to protect natural resources that could be impacted during the construction and operation of a project or land use change, and to ensure that through the course of any project's review, that the applicant, like in this case Washoe County, has comprehensively done that review and ensure that the proper authorities are engaged in providing their analyses and approvals or denials for those topic areas that they govern, like mineral rights. Lastly, our role from the regional plan amendment perspective is really one of a tracking mechanism, right? To ensure we have tracked the location of any new regional utility sites and or corridors, and that to the extent possible, the project uses existing corridors for transmission. So from our perspective and based on the submittal by Washoe County, and we potentially will hear from Chris tonight on the item, we believe that the appropriate reviews are either ongoing or in place. And in the end, we know that a building permit for this project cannot be granted unless all of those approvals, including this one tonight, are in place. So with that, I'd like to turn it back to you, Madam Chair, to ascertain the will of the Commission this evening on how we'd like to move forward, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Jeremy. I first would like to hear from Washoe County and get their input on what was the letter, if they'd had a chance to review it.
Madam Chair, can I interject? This is Commissioner Gower.
Go ahead.
I think before we get any further on these items, I need to disclose. I have 2 disclosures. I am employed by a firm who is doing the environmental compliance work for I'm employed by Ormat. I'm not employed. My firm is, Ormat's a client of mine, and we're doing the EA analysis for the project. So I have to disclose that, and based on conversations with legal counsel and Executive Director Smith, I'm going to recuse, even if it's continued. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gower. Noted. Do we have the representative from Washoe County?
We do, Madam Chair. We have Dan Cahalan. I always say your last name wrong, Dan. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think you're still on mute. There you go.
Yep, no worries.
There you go.
Dan Cullen for the record. I believe this is more or less the exact same set of written correspondence provided at the original meeting, which was included in the original application packet, and staff report to the Planning Commission. Just looking at it briefly. The first page of the letter I have not reviewed in depth, but I believe the issues are primarily identified regarding the concerns of connectivity between the Ormat geothermal site and the geothermal facilities and resources that the tribes have access to at Pyramid Lake.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I personally am having a difficult time understanding. The sound is not very good. I don't know if there's anything you can do to adjust it.
I'm not
Or the other
entirely sure.
commissioners. Is anybody else having problems, or
Reed, I'm only catching every other word that Dan says.
As I am also. So I don't know.
I don't know if there's a way to fix it. I think I think the main question is would you like to have time to respond to the letter? And have this item continued so you have time?
This is Commissioner Chesney from Washoe County. And we have wrestled with this application in a couple of different ways. And if the rest of the commission doesn't feel comfortable after receiving the remarks from the tribe, I would suggest that they have time to digest it if they have not already. It's complicated. There are a lot of consultants involved. And the analysis of the encroachment into the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe's aquifer necessarily doesn't mean that they own that aquifer. So I think folks should really take a good look at the letter and take a good look at the conditions. And that would be, I guess my recommendation would be, if you feel comfortable with your analysis of the most recent and redundant input from the Paiute tribe, we continue it. If not, then we postpone it to next month's meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Chesney. I also wanted to hear from Andy Durling from the Ormat position.
Thank you very much, Chairman Reed. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Thanks. And I think, I was able to hear Dan fairly well, and I think, and not to totally put words in his mouth, but he was saying, this is a letter that we have received from the tribe, not verbatim, but similar in nature, both at the Planning Commission and at the Board of County Commissioners meeting for Washoe County. They have been involved in the BLM process for this, the environmental process associated with the plant, and are part part of that public comment with that environmental process. And so really the concerns relative to groundwater is kind of, there's two things really. There's what we would call kind of shallow groundwater, or more potable groundwater, and then the geothermal resource. Those are two very different aquifers. They're separated. They're not intermingling. As could be seen in some of the documents that you provided, that staff provided to you, the majority of the tribal land is on the other side of a mountain range. So these are very different, very bifurcated aquifers, and are not connected. In particular, the geothermal resource, theirs is about 12 to 13 miles away. So this is a very separated situation where this groundwater, this is not a situation where the groundwater is being used, or the geothermal resource is being used and taken away from them. In fact, the geothermal resource for this is actually within a closed system. So there actually is no consumptive use of the geothermal water. It comes up, is passed through a system, and is re-injected back into the ground. So there is no consumptive use of the geothermal. The more quote unquote potable groundwater, the shallow groundwater, is a very, very small use. It's only going to be used for construction water, dust control, some fire suppression, and then really just flushing toilets. It's not able to be it's not drinkable. So they'll have bottled water for the employees to drink. So really, you've got a very, very minor use of actual groundwater at this. So with that in mind, and I've got a kind of a more robust presentation if you're interested, if we go that far. But from our perspective, this is not something that really is within the purview of the Regional Planning Commission. The BLM is going to be regulating the groundwater monitoring in addition to Nevada Department of Environmental Protection. What we're seeing, and what ORMAT is seeing during the NEPA process with BLM, is that they will have a very robust groundwater monitoring system. Usually NDEP would have groundwater modeling just really around the perimeter of the project itself. They're looking miles out to provide additional monitoring wells to ensure that this is something that's safe. Just also, anecdotally provide you with kind of some perspective on this. ORMAT produces a lot of energy here in the Truckee Meadows. Their Galena Steamboat facility, which is down kind of just south of the Summit Mall and kind of next to Galena High School down there, that complex is about 4 times larger than what we're talking about here. It's surrounded by residential, shopping, TUMWA production wells, and there's no issues. This is a very, very low impact use, and by that, we would like to see you consider it and approve it tonight, if at all possible.
Okay, thank you, Andy.
Madam Chair, if I may, for 1 sec.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I just want to point out that as you can tell, it's pretty darn complicated, and if there's reticence, I think getting something written in the record, providing the substance behind these pieces, could be pretty darn useful. But if you're feeling confident, and we do have these folks here today, that is also a path. I just want to point out that in conversations with Mr. Erling earlier, we think that the Bureau of Land Management will be making a determination on their approval by the middle of February. And so, in fact, we could potentially have that if we were to go to another meeting. But again, it's in your court, I guess. Now I'll stop talking. Thank you.
No, that's fine. Thank you. I believe Commissioner Chavilicek had a question or comment.
Yes, thank you, Chair Reed. My concern continues as to be what it was at the Planning Commission. And Mr. Durling, I respectfully disagree that it doesn't, when you say it doesn't come under the purview of the Regional Planning Commission. With the newly adopted regional plan, well, it's a year now, but the regional plan is that we, as a Regional Planning Commission, made a commitment to ensuring that we are respectful of all natural resources, of all affected parties. And when I see information that comes from a tribal sovereign nation and we're not addressing those comments, I take exception to that. I would be a whole lot more comfortable with having this continued so I can source out people to help answer the questions for me on the technical side. And I'm asking Dan and Andy, how has the county and how has the applicant engaged with the tribe?
Dan calling for the record. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds quite a
Okay.
bit better, Dan. Thank you.
There we go. So the county reached out to the tribes and provided the input and comments back from Pyramid Lake Tribal Council from within the original staff report. Beyond that, the county has reached out to the required agencies that are required to permit this, including the Nevada Department of Minerals, Nevada Division of Environmental Protection, Nevada Division of Water Resource, Washoe County District Health Department, and then the BLM and Forest Service, in this case, the BLM regarding this. And that was specifically for the geothermal resources. Beyond that, Washoe County was required to contact Washoe County Director of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, administration of the admin of the Division of Environmental Protection, Nevada State Fire Marshal, and administrator of the Division of Industrial and Labor Relations of the Nevada State Department of Business and Industry, and any commanders of military installations within the noticing area. Staff did these things within the original staff report. These are requirements per code, and the permitting authority for geothermal resources does indeed lie with the Department of Minerals, which is why we contacted them. So that is the point where staff has left it to the relevant agencies who are able to monitor geothermal resources and provide educated feedback on this. Staff is just looking at this from the perspective of Washoe County Code and the ability to make the findings for a special use permit for a geothermal resource. I hope that answers your question.
I don't know. That Commissioner Donchek.
I just want to say I concur with Commissioner Civilchek's opinion. I truly believe that we need more information on this to clarify, because when we got some of this information at our meeting originally, we had serious concerns, and I'm sorry, Dan, but we do not feel that they were properly addressed at that time. So I truly believe we need to continue to February to get more clear information.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Civilchek, did Dan address your questions?
Not entirely. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? Commissioner West.
Yes, I did have a chance to read the documents presented by the tribe yesterday. And I come from a background, I'm a licensed civil engineer, and I was also an environmental consultant, and understand, the level of detail needed for decisions like this, having written similar types of reports for projects in other states. I agree as well that it is very complex, and I would feel much more comfortable if we continued this and had the applicant come back and address those areas of concern specifically that was presented to us in the documents yesterday.
Thank you, Commissioner West. Commissioner Chesney, do you have I see a hand up.
Yes. So I would agree that a continuance would be in order, but I believe that we need to specifically state the information that everybody, that if there are doubts about the information that's already been presented, that we specifically ask and be fair to the client and to ourselves to know exactly what information people want. I have some questions, but we just can't throw it up in the air. It's either we give them some bullet points to come back to us with, or we don't continue it. No, I know that was as clear as mud, but
Well, I think what I'm hearing is from most of you is we would like to continue this item, but this is a public hearing, and we will need to open it up for that before we do a motion. So I am going to go ahead and open it up for public comment. So do we have any public comment on this item?
Yes, and Andy Derling, I believe you had filled out a digital public comment card. Did you still want to take the 3 minutes to speak?
No, I mean, I provided comments already. I'd be, as I said in my original comments, I'd be happy to provide a presentation. You know, our sense, I completely respect the opinions of the commission. From our perspective, when we say that, you know, the purview is not at this body, it's at other federal and state agencies. Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Agency is not equipped to review groundwater monitoring. That needs to rest with the BLM and NDEP, who are equipped and whose purview it is. So that's where, from our perspective, this isn't the right place for that. We understand and totally respect that, you know, you have policies regarding natural resource. We don't feel that we're amiss or gone sideways to any of those policies. Like I said before, though, the groundwater monitoring, whether it's, you know, shallow or the deep geothermal water, is the purview of the BLM and through their NEPA process, and NDEP through their normal permitting process. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any further questions, and if this is continued, would be able to provide additional resources if you'd like.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Yeah, we have one more, and it's Donna Marie Noel, and we're going to go ahead and let her into the meeting real quick. And I'm also going to provide I'm going to close my video and put a little timer of sorts. I'll let the speaker know when there's a couple minutes remaining, a minute remaining when your time is up. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Donna Marie Noel, and I'm the Director of Natural Resources for the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I submitted comprehensive written comments to you yesterday, but I wanted to explain a few significant concerns the tribe has with the proposed Ormat Santa Medio project. Ormat proposes to drill 25 geothermal wells within 3 miles of the reservation boundary. Ormat's project targets the same system of groundwater that has faults that extend into the reservation. There is a warm fault, warm spring along the end of the fault that shows vertical movement between the geothermal resources and the groundwater and springs. And these springs that are on the reservation side of this these faults are for our cattlemen and our wildlife. And we just put out bighorn sheep in the Lake Range, which is also in that area. The tribe also expended significant resources to investigate its own geothermal development on the reservation for the tribe's much needed economic development, which would be impacted by Ormat's project. The tribe is concerned that there has been no analysis on the impact the new wells will have on the tribe's natural resources. Even though it is a closed system, the Kona depression and from these wells will impact the groundwater. Your staff report says that the Washoe County's review of the special use permit sufficiently addressed the natural resource policies, but Washoe County didn't analyze the natural resource impacts. It just deferred to the draft environmental document from the BLM. But the BLM analysis also fails to adequately address the impacts on the reservation to the tribe. That's why the Washoe County Planning Commission denied the special use permit originally. The tribe is requesting that you do not approve the map revision or determine conformance with the regional plan until a much more thorough natural resources impact analysis is performed in collaboration with the tribe. The tribe thinks it's very important that they're involved in the process, so our views and our science that we've been working on the reservation for over 15 years now isn't in vain. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anybody else that wishes to comment?
I have not received any more public comment for this item.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and close public comment, bring back to the board. I think from my perspective, I think it would be good for Washoe County and beneficial and ORMAT to respond in writing to the letter that the tribe submitted yesterday afternoon. Do any of the commissioners have comments, questions? Commissioner Carey.
Madam Chair, and I'm glad I found the lower hand feature. I very much appreciate the conversation from my colleagues with Washoe County and their perspective on this project. I'd also like to thank Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe for taking the time to submit their letter and attend our meeting tonight to present their concerns. I think as a sovereign nation, I feel that it's important that we respect that government to government relationship, and it's only appropriate that we allow for additional time to review their concerns and respond to them in writing and bring forth additional information for our review of this project. Getting kind of back to Commissioner Chesney's comments about providing specificity and what sort of information that we're looking for individually and what we'd like to see from the applicant. I would have a request of our staff to kind of provide more analysis with respect to the natural resources section that we were looking at with the amendment to the regional plan and to this conformance review for the project of regional significance. Had this letter not come in, I would have those similar concerns. What I interpret the analysis in the staff report that we received was that because Washoe County Commission approved this special use permit, they looked at natural resources, and because Washoe County looked at this in their master plan and accounted for natural resources, then it's good. I disagree with that interpretation. I believe under NRS and our regulations as an agency, we're tasked when looking at projects of regional significance and with regional plan amendments to look at specifically how natural resources are impacted of projects of this size. I don't think it's adequate to look at simply, it was done at the local level, because the local government entitlement process does not look at regional impacts to issues such as natural resources or public services or regional form and pattern, how this agency is supposed to. So I would say that's one thing that I would look at and would like to see more of coming forth. And just from looking at the information that was submitted, I don't have enough information to make that specific finding. And with the concerns that were brought forth from the tribe tonight and the letter that they included from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service with respect to the potential impact that this project could have on the endangered species of Lahontan cutthroat trout and the kiwi and desert bighorn sheep and sage grouse, I think it's important that we allow the applicant to go back and work out, come up in writing, respond to the tribe. And I think it's only appropriate that we provide the tribe an opportunity to, if this motion is allowed, to reiterate their concerns for themselves. I don't have, with all due respect to the applicant's representative, I don't think it's fair that the applicant's representative gets a chance to paraphrase the tribe's concerns, I would like to hear directly from the tribe their concerns and hear a response in writing.
Thank you, Commissioner Carey. Commissioner Chivilicek.
Thank you, Chair Reed. And just to restate, the regional planning report we get is, much more condensed than what, in terms of background. The Planning Commission voted to, the majority voted to deny the special use permit. The Board of County Commission overturned our denial. So I think it's important for all of my colleagues to know where the Washoe County Planning Commission was with basically stating, we needed more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Johnson,
Go ahead.
just following up, I appreciate Commissioner Carey's comments. I think that lined it out well with respect to what we're looking for. I think what I'm hearing from my fellow commissioners, and I appreciate, is that I believe we're asking for, and correct me if I'm wrong, the additional information to be coming from Washoe County and the applicant, and not TMRPA staff as a part of their review. I think what we're looking for, and I think Jeremy stated at the very beginning that TMRPA staff is not experts in this. So I would support a motion of continuance. And I think, to Commissioner Chesney's point, the recommendation that we're looking for is exactly what Commissioner Carey stated, which is a letter from Washoe County addressing the concerns. I would then, from my follow-up comment to that, is that I appreciate that this board is looking at it from a broader perspective, but I think as a result, we're also looking at it from a higher perspective. So I do think that some of the details that have been brought up and some of the questions that are here are things that are going to be required at a code level and a natural resources and Department of Mineral and Natural Resources determination. So I do think that getting a response back from the county in terms of how they've addressed these is critical. But I would also just go on the record from this board standpoint that I'm not looking for the deep dive into the details. I'm looking for evidence that the details have been brought up, that there has been communication between the elements, and confirmation that these will need to be addressed prior to actual approvals, as the applicant stated, that some of this can actually nothing can be built until some of these are obtained. So just had heard all of my fellow commissioners. I agree with the approach, but I just wanted to go on the record for how I would like to see this be brought forward to us if it is indeed continued. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Taylor had her hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I am going to be saying pretty much the same thing, maybe in a simpler term for me, but I do support a continuance. And what I would like to see as far as presentations from staff and the applicant is information regarding to what this request is, not necessarily what the Washoe County Commission looks at or the Washoe County Planning Commission looks at, but what the application is for this body, which is regional plan conformance and those findings as it relates to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Chesney.
Yes, Andy Durling just brought up something that tweaked me a little bit, in that in a positive way, that the BLM is really going to be the I think the decider on this thing. And so I don't know what the process is or what the track would be, but the BLM has to make the final decisions on the amount of water that'll be used and all those sorts of things. And I think they're so far above us at this commission's level that somehow between now and if we vote for a continuance, we need input from them as to what their decision is going to be. And that should help influence our ability to make a decision on this. And I hope that's a little clearer than I think I tried to make it, but there's a lot of mechanics involved in this thing to get to the final decision. And I'm a little confused why this body, because this is out of the TMSA, is really in, even though it's a decision of regional significance, why we're even involved in this thing. And I'll lower my hand.
Thank you, Commissioner Chesney. Any other questions, comments?
Chair Reid.
Yes, Commissioner Chivilicek.
Thank you. And I appreciate my fellow commissioners' comments and such. And then I would just add one more for consideration. And then I would be prepared to make a motion for continuance. When we as a board and those and where we sit in our respective jurisdictions, we ensure that we embrace every opportunity for public input. And as we go further and further and further up the chain, that gets harder and harder for the public to engage. And so when we rewrote the regional plan, we made a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion to ensure that every voice was listened to and addressed. So, you know, as applicants or as the applicant has to go further and further through, people get exhausted when they think they have to go to more and more public hearings, or they may never even hear about the public hearings. And I think it's our responsibility at our respective jurisdictions, as well as this jurisdiction, to ensure that we make every opportunity available for the public to have input.
Thank you. Are we ready to, I'm ready to entertain a motion if you are.
Chair Reid.
Yeah, we're going to hear from legal.
If it sounds like the Board of Commissioners are looking to continue this item until their February meeting. From my understanding of the comments so far, it also sounds like the BLM report will be done by then. So you should have that as well. And then whatever written supplemental comments that the applicant and ORMAT want to submit. I would like to get on the record written or consent from both ORMAT and Washoe County to the continuance, so that we don't run into any issues with the 60-day time frame in which this body needs to make a conformance finding on the project of regional significance. So if I could ask Mr. Durling and the representative from Washoe County to put their consent on the record, I would appreciate it. And I'm so sorry, I cannot pronounce your last name. Dan, thank you.
Dan.
But if I just want to make sure that there's no objections from your point of view to continuance till February.
All right, let's start with Dan.
I spoke to Trevor Lloyd, planning manager. There are no objections to continuing this item to next month's meeting from Washoe County's perspective.
All right, Andy.
Just trading messages with my client and their client ORMAT. I'm with Wood Rogers, for the record, representing them. Yes, as long as the meeting can occur next month, we would be that would be fine with us.
Thank you. All right, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Chair Reid.
Yes.
I move that this item be continued to our February meeting.
Chair Reid, Commissioner Dodson seconds the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Chivilicek and a second by Commissioner Donchik. Any discussion? Can we go ahead and get a roll call vote?
Yeah, of course. First up, Kathleen Taylor,
Yes.
Francine Donchik,
Yes.
Kyle West,
Yes.
Larry Chesney,
Aye.
Mark Johnson,
Yes.
and I believe Peter Gao is recusing himself from this item. So moving on to Sarah Chavilicek,
Yes.
Scott Carey,
Aye.
and Shelley Reed.
Aye. Okay, motion passes unanimously with Commissioner Gower refusing himself. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Washoe County and Andy. I appreciate you guys coming and providing us with more information and being willing to let this item continue to next month. Thank you for your time. Let's move on to item 6B, which is a regional plan conformance review by the City of Sparks, Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jeremy Smith for the record. Item 6B is for possible action of public hearing, a regional plan conformance review, City of Sparks comprehensive plan, that's CR 20-021. It's an amendment to the City of Sparks comprehensive plan that will 1, revise existing and adopt new goals, policies, and text to address conformance with the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan. 2, update figures, maps, statistics, and text for general maintenance purposes. And 3, revise existing and adopt new goals, policies, and text to address certain topics, including, but not limited to, annexation and development, agreement procedures, sidewalks, flooding, transportation improvements, cultural resources, and non-residential land use amendments. For this item, we have a presentation from policy analyst Nate Kusha, and further we have Sparks staff on the meeting if you have questions. Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. For the record, Nate Kusha with Team RPA. Go ahead and share my screen, walk through our presentation. So, as Director Smith noted, this is a conformance review for a master plan amendment for the City of Sparks comprehensive plan. It's case number CR 20-021. So this conformance review is for an amendment to the City of Sparks comprehensive plan. This amendment includes changes that address all of the scheduled additions set forth in the list of scheduled additions, which is identified in CR 20-003, which was the City of Sparks comprehensive plan conformance review with the newly adopted 2019 regional plan. And in addition to the scheduled additions, the City of Sparks has included other modifications, really focusing on general updates and targeted policy changes, which were also analyzed for conformance, and we'll walk through those in addition to the scheduled additions. Finally, regional planning staff does conclude that the City of Sparks comprehensive plan amendment does conform with the 2019 Truckee Meadows regional plan. So a little bit of background, the City of Sparks submitted their comprehensive plan for conformance review on November 21st, 2019, and the Regional Planning Commission then made its determination of conformance on April 23rd, 2020, and found that the Sparks comprehensive plan does conform with the 2019 regional plan with the list of scheduled additions to be addressed, and that's included as an attachment to your staff report. We'll walk through those as well. So for this conformance review, policy RC9 of the 2019 regional plan identifies the 5 factors that the RPC must consider when evaluating a master plan amendment for conformance with the policies of the regional plan. And we're going to walk through all of these sections and what is being proposed for each of them. So for population growth, the City of Sparks comprehensive plan has policy H6, which now addresses the utilization of the regional strategy for housing affordability in the City of Sparks housing plan. And this addresses scheduled addition number 1. For regional form, in order to satisfy scheduled additions 2 and 3, the City of Sparks comprehensive plan has included the regional land designations, also known as the tiers, as well as their associated prioritization hierarchy in the Managing Growth section of Chapter 4 of the Sparks Comprehensive Plan. Additionally, Chapter 4 now includes language addressing the compatibility of land uses at the master plan land use level, and that satisfies scheduled edition number 4. So for both of those sections, there were no other modifications really reviewed, but moving into the public facilities and services now. So they address scheduled edition 5 by including language in the managing growth section of Chapter 4 stating that within the TMSA, the regional land designations or tiers serve as a priority hierarchy for managing regional growth and public investment. So again, that satisfies scheduled edition 5. In addition, policies CF16 and CF17 of the Sparks Comp Plan have been added, which address the regional utility corridor requirements from the regional plan, and it satisfies scheduled edition number 7. So in addition to the scheduled editions, Sparks has also added or changed a few things with regards to public facilities and services. They added language and policy addressing enhanced connectivity and identifying desired locations for future RTC corridor studies. And also a new policy has been added, has been added to enhance collaboration among Team RPA, the City of Sparks, and the RTC, specifically when it comes to review of the regional transportation plan for conformance with the regional plan. So again, we didn't have any issues here. It's all in conformance with the plan, but there were a few more changes. Likewise, the natural resources for scheduled additions, yet again in the managing growth section of the comp plan, utilization of the regional water management plan has been outlined, meeting scheduled edition 6. And then additionally, policy RC31 now identifies the entities involved in the protection of cultural resources. Policy RC23 addresses pandemic preparedness. And then flood management has also been bolstered by a suite of 6 new policies in the Sparks plan, notably policy RC19, which is to maintain the open space land use designation assigned to areas within the critical flood zone. Yet again, all found in conformance. And then finally, for regional coordination, as part of the update process, the regional plan update process, the City of Sparks worked with Washoe County to roll back portions of its sphere of influence in areas that are already developed or are not intended to be annexed into the incorporated city. And so the land use maps in the Sparks Comprehensive Plan now reflect these changes, which meets the requirement of scheduled edition number 8. And finally, the Sparks Comprehensive Plan maps and land use categories, category tables have been updated to the most current data, and outdated references have been removed. So this is kind of the extra changes there. So with that, there's a motion on the slide here on page 39 of your packet. This concludes my presentation, and myself, as well as City of Sparks staff, are available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Nate. Do any of the commissioners have questions? Okay, this is a public hearing item, so I'm going to open that up. Do we have anyone waiting for public comment on this item?
There's no public comment for this item.
Okay, let's go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the board. Any discussion by the commission? Commissioner Carey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick comment or two. I really would like to thank the TMRPA staff and our staff at the City of Sparks for working together on this update. As a Sparks Planning Commissioner, I very much appreciate the exercise of going through and updating our city's comprehensive plan to reflect the changes in the new regional plan. I was very happy to see the inclusion of the RTC corridor study for Rock Boulevard. I think that will help bring a lot of investment to that part of our region, but it also helped really improve traffic and safety. With respect to the changes we made in policy RC31, that one's about cultural resources. And I believe that not only the City of Sparks, but also regionally, more should be done to bring our region in compliance with the requirements of Senate Bill 244 from the 2017 session and meet the requirements for appropriately managing and protecting cultural resources as outlined in NRS 381-207. I believe the Washoe Tribe in Nevada and California, the Reno Sparks Indian Colony, and the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe, they have a lot of expertise when it comes to managing cultural resources, and I believe that they can be a good resource. I think as a public policy, more can be done in that area, and I would encourage my colleagues to bring forth similar updates. I think the public comment we received yesterday and the comment we received tonight kind of shows that I think more can be done to work with the tribes in our region. And really what it comes down to is making sure that the tribes have a voice in identifying, protecting, and appropriately managing cultural resources. It's not my intention with this policy being in the city's comprehensive plan now to stop anything or shut down any growth. I think by having a proactive working relationship and a government to government relationship with these tribes on cultural resources can help bring forth a lot of projects forward faster and in a better way. And finally, I'd also just like to put a plug in for the change that we made with respect to policy RC19. And that's dealing with maintaining open space land uses along the Truckee River for critical flood zone and other critical flood zones. I think more can be done in our region to provide additional open space along the Truckee River and other flood areas for future flood protection. I really like the changes that we did, and I would encourage my colleagues with Washoe County and City of Reno to take a look at that when they're looking at that. I did a talk at the Sparks Heritage Museum about Truckee River and flooding, and we covered the 1955 and 1997 floods and how devastating those were to our area. At the end of the day, there's only so much water that can go through the through the Vista Narrows and the Truckee River before it backs up and it eventually floods all three of our jurisdictions. So kudos to everyone, and I'm prepared to make a motion if there's no other comments.
Any other comments? Commissioner West?
No comment.
Comment? Okay. Saw your screen light up. I didn't see a hand raised. Sorry. All right. I'll entertain a motion. Commissioner Carey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to find the City of Sparks Master Plan Amendment in conformance with the 2019 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan based on the findings listed in the staff report.
Commissioner Chesney, second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Carey and a second by Commissioner Chesney. Any discussion? Can we please get a roll call vote?
Kathleen Taylor,
Yes.
Francine Donchik,
Yes.
Kyle West,
Yes.
Larry Chesney,
Aye.
Mark Johnson,
Yes.
Peter Gower,
Yes.
Sarah Chavilicek,
Yes.
Scott Carey,
Aye.
and Shelley Reed.
Aye. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to item 6C, which is RPC training segment. Director Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Smith, for the record, this is item 6C for possible action, the RPC training segment, overview of Nevada revised statutes as they apply to regional planning. We're going to turn it over to Nate here in a second to take us through what we're going to ask you to do. But many of you are new to the commission, and one of our mandates from state law is that we have 12 hours of training for commissioners. And so what we want to do is just kind of add one of these little items to the agendas going forward month to month until we get everyone certified and make sure we're all good, to prompt you to kind of go through some of the self-led training exercises that we have online. Many of you have been doing this. I would say for commissioners that have served for years and years and years, you've likely already done this. But again, we need to put this out there because it is a requirement of state law. I want to make sure that folks, we have a lot of new faces, that we're getting this training done. So this is the first one. We're going to look at our statutes, and I'm going to pass it over to policy analyst Mr. Nate Kusha to take us through.
Good evening again, commissioners. We're going to keep this one pretty brief. But I will share presentation again. That's the wrong one. Let's not do that again. All right. So as Director Smith mentioned, we're going to be kind of doing these going forward, just kind of a quick overview of the information that you guys can familiarize yourself with for some of the training requirements we have. For this one, we're going to go over NRS. So with that, we'll start with what Director Smith mentioned, the NRS 278.0265, which states that the Regional Planning Governing Board shall prescribe an appropriate course of at least 12 hours of training in land use planning for the members of the Regional Planning Commission. The course of training must include, without limitation, training related to state statutes, regulations, and local ordinances, resolutions and regulations concerning land use planning, and the provisions of Chapter 241 of NRS. So with that, a quick NRS overview here. NRS 278 is really where our mandates come from. And this is for regional planning in counties whose population is 100,000 or more, but less than 700,000. And it starts at NRS 278.026. So just a brief kind of overview here is that this mandates the Planning Commission membership, the makeup of it, and that includes, 3 members from the local Planning Commission of each city in the county whose population is 60,000 or more, and that would be Reno and Sparks, so 3 each from there. 1 member from the local Planning Commission of each city in the county whose population is less than 60,000. We don't have any of those. And then we have 3 members from the local Planning Commission of the county, and that's Washoe County. So brief overview there. Moving on to 278.027.0274. Many of you are probably familiar with this. This was that big shield that we like to call it at Team RPA, the big poster board we had of the contents of what should be in the regional plan. So just briefly, it comes down to population, limitation of premature expansion, conservation, land use and transportation, public facilities and services, annexation, intergovernmental coordination, and utility projects. Also in this section of NRS, it also sets forth regulations for joint planning, review of amendments, and annual reporting as well. So that's NRS 278. And then we also have NRS 241, meetings of state and local agencies. So NRS 270 or 241 is about open meeting law and sets requirements for holding and noticing public meetings, the requirements for the dissemination of materials, as well as requirements for meeting minutes. So all of these you can find more in depth on NRS. So many of you all should actually have this link by now. If you don't, or regardless if you do, we're going to send it out to you guys again after this meeting. But I'm going to go ahead and take you here, hopefully, and show you what's here. So this is our Regional Planning Commission training webpage. I'm going to have to reshare here. So this link will bring you to our website and the webpage for the RPC Training Opportunities. So this is what you'll see here. So these 2 links right here will bring you to the 2 chapters of NRS I just kind of went over. This is the NRS itself. What we would like you guys to do for some of your training is to go ahead and actually click those links, go in, read the statutes, and familiarize yourself with those. And as you do that, then you can go ahead right to this link here, the RPC self-certification form. As Director Smith mentioned, many of you have already been doing this. Francine, you can see right here, has already logged a lot of hours of doing training. So all you guys are here on the spreadsheet, so find your name, add your hours, and we're trying to total up to 12 hours. So for this one, what we're asking is to go to those NRS pages, familiarize yourself with the statutes, and then log how much time it took you to do that here. And like we said, we're looking for 12 hours for completion. And what we have discussed now is that we're going to put together a certification form for you guys so that after we go in here, we see you've done your 12 hours, we'll shoot you that self-certification form to show that, hey, I've completed my RPC training. And so be on the lookout for that if you do complete your 12 hours. And we'll try to keep tabs on the Google spreadsheet there. It's a Google Doc. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Nate. Appreciate that. If I may, just want to say that appreciate that, Nate. And we don't want it to be onerous, but we do want to make sure everyone's trained up, and we recognize again that, this is happening concurrently, and we're all at different levels in the training. So if you've already done the NRS reading, we're not asking you to do it again. We just want to ensure that all, especially the new faces, know where these materials can be found, that we're looking to get 12 hours, and that we want to make sure that we can get that certificate out to you that you've completed them, and then we'll be meeting the requirements of state law. And with some of you folks that have been on the commission for a long time, I'm planning to just reach out to you individually and have a conversation about these training materials so that we can figure out where we stand on that. So thank you very much.
I was muted. Is there any action to be taken? I see Commissioner Chesney has his hand up.
I just had a question. Through Washoe County, we get regular and significant training in all of these items. Is that transferable to the regional training requirement, or do we have to do redundant training?
Thank you, Commissioner Chesney, for that question. Basically, our training is based around an adopted set of training materials by the Regional Planning and Governing Board. One of the things we want to do is actually try to bring a revamp to the training. The program's pretty old, and we went through and culled out some really old kind of non-relevant video stuff that we didn't want to put you through because it was not relevant anymore. So we're going to look to expand that. I think that's a really good point, that we could attempt to bring in some of the training that we already know is happening at the local jurisdictions if it has that crossover, and make that part of our official training regime. Right now it isn't, but we'll put that in there so that we can hopefully utilize that. If the RPGB approves that, then that would be okay. But right now I don't think that's in there, Commissioner Chesney. So we want to target things that aren't that, and we'll try to get that fixed probably at the April meeting of the RPGB.
Thanks, Jeremy.
You bet.
Thank you. Any other questions? Is there an action we need to do on this, Jeremy?
Madam Chair, no, I don't believe there is. Just go to the self-certification form and read that NRS if you haven't. That's the action. But
okay,
you could move to accept our report if you wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary.
All righty then. We will go ahead and move on to item 7, which is reports, and we'll start with the director's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, I'm Jeremy Smith, for the record. I just want to say, first off, thank you for your patience and good humor as we negotiated that first item. I think there's some complicated aspects to that, and look forward to bringing a much more robust conversation back to you on February 25th. We'll make sure we're contacting all the parties and lining that out so that any concerns can be addressed at that time. I'm still working on the COVID risk meter. The burden to TMRPA at this point is pretty small. Every day we update the meter with information about the COVID pandemic from the region, as I've mentioned. And I'm just super happy to report that for the past 2 weeks, we've been out of the red and back into the orange. So the conditions with regard to COVID in this region are really getting better. I don't think we're out of the woods necessarily. There's some delays, I guess, with the rollout of the vaccine, which we know about. So that's kind of hampering our ability to really get in front of it. Also, there's some different variants that have emerged now that are somewhat more contagious. But our combination, I think we really actually played a very valuable role in our community's response by getting that risk meter out there. It's been adopted by the local news media, and I think it's helping to influence behavior. So while we see upticks in COVID in nearby states like California, we're seeing the opposite directionality. So it's really good news that people are doing a great job in this region of modifying their behavior to stop the spread. So just wanted to give you that heads up. Super cool. And then finally, I'm going to send a follow-up email. I just want to make sure that we have the best contact information for everyone. Phone numbers that we can reach you on, your address, and your preferred email. We've had a couple of missteps with that here recently, and so we want to build the most up-to-date roster, especially we have some new members. Make sure we get all that. So apologies there, and we're gonna work to make that more streamlined and correct. So expect an email from me on that. And with that, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy. And on that roster, will you be distributing it to the commissioners so that we're able to have that contact information?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Any member reports? Okay, how about legal counsel's report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jessica Prunty for the record. I have nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. Any requests for future agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to our final public comment of the evening. Do we have any callers?
We do not for this item.
All right, I will close public comment. Is there any written correspondence?
No, there's no written correspondence.
Okay. I did want to note our next meeting is February 25th. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Chesney, move to adjourn.
So moved. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you all. Have an excellent night.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Okay.